Okay. All right. First on the agenda, as always, minutes. So if somebody wants to,
I move that we approve the minutes of March 2nd, 2022. I guess I can also move that we approve April.
Yeah.
I
April 5th.
have a correction.
oh, okay.
For April 5th, those minutes on the first line, it says March 1st instead of April 5th.
Thank you very much. And the same, actually, March 1st, on the March 1st ones. I completely overlooked that, so both on March 1st, it needs to be changed to March 2nd.
Oh, was it more, oh.
Well, I don't know, you have March 2nd on the approval of March 2nd
Shoot,
minutes.
does anybody have a calendar handy? Because right now, I honestly can't remember. Oh, and yeah.
I can't.
What date are we looking for?
The first Tuesday of March.
March 1st.
March 1st.
Okay, so that is correct.
Yes.
Okay.
So it is.
So the
in fact,
agenda
March.
is incorrect, and for that. I
Yes, so
apologize.
we're not going to approve the agenda, but we will, I move that we approve the minutes of March 1st, 2022, and April 5th, 2022.
Okay. But that correction in the first line to correct April 5th, okay.
Second,
Okay. Oh goodness, excuse me. My nose is itching. Let me just, okay. All in favor? Okay, next, moving right along, is the Worcester Youth Program Annual Presentation. I should provide a PowerPoint, which is in your packet, but because of the configuration in here, it's just, you've got it all right there, so we'll just go with that. So if you want to pull a chair up, or actually, Patricia, maybe if you want to move over.
I certainly can.
Before it comes, we can reconfigure a little bit. And if you could just introduce yourselves to the group and.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Dr. Jennifer Labore. I'm the Executive Director of Worcester Youth and Family Counseling Services. This is Leslie Dixon, who is our Berlin Youth Club facilitator and coordinator. We were really happy to have a great year. The year prior, because of the pandemic, we had to have a lot of virtual activities and we had a virtual camp. So this past year, we were able to have an in-person summer camp, which we were thrilled to do. We had to follow CDC guidelines and keep it small, keep it outside as much as possible. They wouldn't allow field trips. So here's a highlight of some of the things that we did with the summer camp. It was a free 8-week camp for children in the town of Berlin who wouldn't have that opportunity otherwise. So we tried to offer a lot of different enrichment activities and things that they might not normally experience during that 8-week period. We were CDC compliant, and we also became certified with the Maryland Department of Health, and believe that is a thick book of regulations and things that all kinds of things we had to prove and do and talk about, but and we're certified again for this upcoming summer.
Okay, great.
So we have a plan for everything.
Have the, do you know yet, have the restrictions been completely lifted? I know they've been relaxed at least.
It's been relaxed, and we anticipate that we'll be able to have a larger group of students this year, and we'll be able to do field trips this
Good,
year.
good, good.
So we're really excited. I mean, we're hoping things don't change, but fingers crossed that
Right.
we can move forward, get back to a new normal. So we were able to have 2 small groups of children. Approximately 20 children were able to attend. We had to break them into 2 age groups, 6 to 9, 10 to 12, and we rotated the groups every day. So there'd be a morning group with the 6 to 9 and an afternoon group with the 10 to 12s. And I know that was a long day for you guys. We were able to partner with the Taylor House Museum and the Buckingham Presbyterian Church to have larger spaces and outdoor space. And we were at Buckingham more often,
Yeah.
correct? And they have the basketball courts and the playground in the back and picnic tables and things. So it was really nice and much easier to do versus our space at Worcester Youth. So we had different weekly themes, art, fitness, games, animal STEM. I tried to show some pictures from all of the different weeks, culinary, kindness week. And we tried to partner with a lot of different local businesses and organizations to provide the kids with different fun activities and just different people and, different things to do, which I think they really liked. Anything else you want to add? I know. Leslie did a great job coordinating and making sure everything was lined up. So we have some pictures of the different weeks. Art Week, they did some amazing artwork with TC Studios, and TC Studios is really fun. They come in, they have music, and they're very entertaining, and the kids really, really enjoy that group when they come in. So Art Week was a variety of different art activities. Fitness Week was really fun. Frank Walter, he's a CASA for us. He's been involved with Worcester Youth forever, but he also is a CrossFit instructor, and he came in and did some workouts with the kids. Nobody got hurt, we promise. And then the kids even did some yoga with OC Beach Yoga. As you can see, it was all outdoors. It was really pretty, and they really enjoyed that. Animal Week, which sounds a little interesting, maybe a little odd, but Coastal Kids and Coastal Bays, they love to partner with us. We'll be partnering with them again this upcoming year. And they introduce the children to different parts of the county, especially Assateague and different areas, and introduce them to animals and things that they normally wouldn't see. And you'd be surprised, we've done field trips in the past. There are so many children that haven't been to the beach and don't know how to swim. So we weren't able to do those types of field trips, but we introduced them to sea life and animal life, and they really enjoyed it. The one little guy there is holding, some type of jaw of some sea creature. And he loved it. He loved it. I think this other little one was being a clam and clamshell and what that was all about. So they really get into the different animals and things and the environment. Now, Water Week, that looked like a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. We did water baseball, we did fill the bucket, then we were just spraying the water hose, we had little water guns, water little shooter things. We were just all soaking by the time the day was over. And the kids loved it, and then we had popsicles. Yes, twice for me.
2 times for you.
Twice. I told the afternoon that I was not going to get wet, and they got me anyway.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yes.
That's right. So they had fun, even though we couldn't take them on a formal field trip. They got wet and, cooled off and enjoyed all the different activities. And so that was a fun week. There was Game Week and Kindness Week. Game Week, I loved this picture of the kids playing basketball together. That was so much fun to see them just get outside and enjoy one another, because it hadn't happened in a long time with the pandemic. And Kindness Week, they seem to be really receptive to that. It seems like more of an adult type topic, let's be kind to one another, but they did their kindness rocks and their bracelets with the Minority Youth Outreach Program, and Kindness Bingo is on there, so there it is.
It's just wonderful
Sweet.
to have, bring that, introduce that into camp. I think that's just fabulous.
They were very receptive, and I don't know if they placed their rocks around town, but we told them to place the rocks.
I've seen a few, yeah.
People could find them, and so they were
Very
into
nice.
that too. Now, M4 Reactor is a place out of Salisbury, but they do some really amazing things mobily. You don't have to go to them, so they bring their little truck and their box truck with all kinds of STEM activities.
Great.
And this little girl here, I'm not even sure what she was making, but it was bigger than her.
They got little cards and gave them some information. They had to make a project all on their own, so.
She did it. Whatever she was doing, she did a great job. What were some of the other, was there a volcano involved? I don't remember.
I found this cool thing on Pinterest. It was called Snow in a Jar. It was like a mental thing with paint and syrup and all this crazy stuff. And I think there's a picture of them with the little bottles. And it kind of looked like it was like popping inside.
That's really fun.
Yeah.
That makes science fun.
Yep.
Anytime you can use candy in a science experiment.
That's right. So I enjoyed that. And then Culinary Week, learning how to make creative foods, healthy foods. What are we making here? I wanted to
We
ask you
made
that.
ham and cheese rolls. So
Nice.
that was fun.
Just a good old lunch there for them. I love the goldfish and what they
Yes.
did with the graham crackers and the goldfish.
That's great.
So yes, introducing them to healthy eating and having fun with food and cooking and things that they might be able to do at home. So we're hoping to carry the same themes over to this upcoming summer and adding in a field trip that's related and tied into that particular theme for that week.
And Nature Week.
Oh, Nature Week, that's right, Nature Week, it's Coastal Kids, they want to partner with us and teach the kids how to do nature journaling.
Oh, great.
And we would be able to take them to the Assateague shoreline, which is right before the bridge as you would cross over into Assateague, and show them all the different animals and plant life and things there, so they could do some journaling there.
Great.
And we don't have to have a swim plan for that one because
Yes.
the water is only knee deep. But we're excited about that. So that is the plan. 8 weeks again this upcoming summer, free camp, 20 to 25 children we're hoping to serve. We've had calls already for people who are interested,
Sure.
families who are interested, and adding in that field trip. Buckingham Presbyterian Church approved for us to use the outdoor area again in the indoor area if the weather's bad, so it's a really nice space. They were very welcoming.
Good.
The volunteers would come with
Cookies,
and-
donuts, like juice for the kids,
Yeah.
popsicles, ice cream.
How nice.
Every day we showed up, it was something new.
That's great. And you said that it'll be 8 weeks?
Yes.
And what's the date range? I'm sorry, when does it start?
We start the first week in July and
Okay.
run straight through the end of August.
Nice.
So,
July 5th, I think, to August 26th.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Yep. So, and again, we will have the larger group of kids for a longer period of time during
Right.
the day instead of having to break it up.
Mhm.
So, that will be good. We did cover some town events. It was really nice to see those events come back.
Yes.
Be able to do some things in person. Typically what we do is we'll either set up, in the past, we would set up a booth where we could interact more so and do face painting and things like that. We had to be really careful, with the pandemic and the issues and things. So we would pack different craft bags or have the STEM people come out from M4 Reactor and offer an activity where, they could either take it home or do it, distancing at the event. So we were able to cover bathtub races, National Night Out, that was fun with the snow cones. Backpack drives, small town throwdown, all the different track or treat, trunk or treats.
Right, yes.
Ice Berlin, it was windy, but that was fun too. Merry Marketplace. We also typically have an in-person holiday dinner for all of our youth program participants where their families can come and they receive different holiday gifts. We couldn't do that in person this year, but we did have a take-home holiday dinner where the families could come in and we boxed everything up, it was catered, and they could get their holiday gifts for the youth program
Great.
participants and their siblings.
Just a wonderful program.
So nobody was left out. Yeah, it really, we have a lot of fun with it. It's probably one of the most rewarding programs. Well, they're all rewarding, but
Right.
it's, I do love this one. And there's just some various pictures from the things that we did. We partnered with Bikers Without Borders for the school supplies drive. They're just such an amazing group of people. National Night Out, partnered with the Berlin Police Department. And then some different pictures of the holiday fun where everybody gets dressed up. And Toys for Tots usually does an amazing job with the different gifts and things for our program kids. And then there's a picture of the catered dinner that everyone was able to take home. and some of the
Okay.
wrapped gifts. Now, we did do spring celebration as well, but we didn't have time to put it in here. But that was fun too. You got to meet the bunny,
Yeah.
hang out with the bunny a little bit, give the kids their goodie bags, and yes, so we've been doing that and a lot of planning for the summer, making sure we're certified again with the Maryland Department of Health, and coming up with the itinerary, and yeah, we're ready to go, we're excited.
Congratulations. Sounds like you guys are just right on track.
We made it through the pandemic. We made it through.
Yeah.
I'm knocking on wood.
And I know, we're just so lucky, and, you know, that virtual camp that we did together, I will never forget that. And if we had to go back and do it again, we could, but
Yeah.
that was an interesting time to try to adapt,
It
so.
was fun though.
That was fun, yes, we did that together.
Yeah, we did.
Driving around, dropping those supplies off on the hottest day of the week. But needless to say, I think with getting through the pandemic, every year, we'll be able to do more and more, so it'll be a good thing.
Great.
Any questions or anyone want to add anything else? Leslie does such a good job, and I always brag about her. She is graduating in May with her elementary education degree. And you're going back to school for your master's
My
degree?
master's.
Yes, but we still get to keep you. Still be with us for a
Right.
while.
For education.
So, yeah.
And your master's will be in early education as well?
Yeah, it'll be our early education.
Wonderful.
Great.
Well,
She's
we'll be
great.
lucky. Are you planning on staying in the area when you?
Oh, yes,
Um,
Worcester County.
Oh,
I'm
wonderful.
Snow Hill born and raised,
There you
so.
That is wonderful. Wonderful news that, you know, we really need young people to stay in town, so to
Yes,
speak.
yes, and I've watched her grow up.
Literally.
She's been with us doing different things over the years and got to this mature point where you could run, the youth club, and so and that's
Wow.
neat to see too.
That's
It's
great.
really, that's a neat thing.
It's nice to know that you are looking to the local kids, the local talent for these. And they want to do it.
Mhm.
Congratulations.
So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, and then you'll come back to the mayor and council
Yep.
meeting. I know I sent you a date, I just can't remember what it was off the top of my head. Obviously, if there's anything more that you wanted to add to this,
Okay.
you are welcome to do so.
Okay.
We'll touch base with you again about getting the PowerPoint to Kelsey, who handles the council meetings.
Okay.
We'll be in
Yeah,
touch.
we might add in spring celebration and some summer plans if
Yeah.
we have anything finalized and
Yeah.
just go from there.
Yeah. Great.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Guys, appreciate it.
Okay. I realized after I did this agenda, I have new business on here twice. You know,
Well,
you-
it must be very important.
Yeah. You go in and you add things, you
Yeah.
come back later and you add more things, and yeah. So the first thing though that we're gonna talk about as new business is the 22 playground inspection report, which was just completed just a couple weeks ago. A lot of the same stuff that, always painting and tightening of bolts, that sort of thing, that Public Works goes through and takes care of that kind of stuff. Jimmy, was there anything in particular in here that you wanted to bring anyone's attention to?
I didn't really come across anything that stood out, other than what has been years past, and areas that we just will address here in the next couple of weeks with our crewing, and try to paint over little things and clean up the rusted bolts and that stuff.
What about the distancing recommendations they had in here?
You
Some
know,
of that stuff.
that's something that they bring to our attention every year, and I can tell you that when the areas were built, they met the standards at that time.
Okay,
It's possible some of those standards have changed a little bit, but it's more than a notion to, move the play
Right,
curbs and,
right.
so it's the kind of thing, I don't think in any of those cases, they have them noted as a significant priority.
Right.
So, for the time being, we're good. Obviously, if we made changes to the play areas, they'd be addressed at that time.
Sure.
Some of it's chip paint on unit, chip worn paint. It's just, it's equipment, it's been weathered, and it's, and
and there are a few areas where they note, maybe a missing piece or something like that. They'll look into either replacement parts if possible, or alterations to make them
Right.
safe. In some cases, you can't necessarily fix it, but you can alter it so that, access is limited or that sort of thing. So. Was there anything in particular that jumped out at anybody that you wanted to talk about?
No, just, I appreciate that all of this is, the distances, so that there won't be any accidental, if some child falls, they won't fall into something, and that's important. Is there anything that you think we, as you're looking around, that really needs replacing, or that, how can we make functionality better as you go through this?
Some of I don't know if replacing would be
Well,
the better, it's really saw its age. You see a
Yeah.
lot of paint that's
Yeah.
wearing off. It has that rubber coating, and that's starting to wear off too, which we really can't paint over that. And we're gonna need to start thinking of how long we wanna maintain this equipment, and where we
Right.
wanna be in the next couple years.
Yeah, I think that's something that we should probably start really talking about so that we're prepared going into the FY '24 budget year. The kinds of grant programs that we used in the past to buy a lot of this equipment either no longer exist or they've shifted. Not to say it's not possible to get grants, but hopefully, in some cases, there are things that the mayor and council maybe will be able to see funding directly rather than waiting for a grant. All we can do is look into it and see what we can see.
And the further ahead we plan,
Right,
more
the
likely.
better we're able to,
Yeah.
yes. And I would say looking at pricing right now would almost be an exercise in futility.
yeah, right.
Because what it might be next year, and with the particular grant program we typically deal with, there's such a long time between application and approval that the prices have changed significantly. Didn't have it on the agenda, and it's really just an aside, but we're still working toward developing the RFP for the Stephen Decatur Park restrooms. And at this point, to be frank, we think we're probably gonna have to bid it out just to see what we get back. The
Right.
likelihood of the prices falling within what we budgeted and what we were awarded under the grant are pretty slim. But we'll work with what we have. The other thing, it's not included in here, but it's along the same conversation. We Heart Berlin has indicated that they have, right? They actually have it. An accessible swing, similar to the one they recently did for Decatur Park. They have one for Henry Park. And I don't know how, when he says he has a swing, I'm not sure if he's just talking about the swing,
He has the whole
seats,
assembly.
the whole assembly, the
Whole
frame and
assembly.
everything.
Oh, wow.
So the issue there is what we would need to do is figure out if it can be installed within the existing footprint, maintaining those safety zones.
Right.
Or if we would need to bump it out. And obviously, again, if you need to bump out that footprint, that becomes a much bigger job. So that's something that we're gonna be looking at.
Do we need to reconceptualize the way our parks are laid out at this point? I mean, to start having thinking about functionality and all of that,
I mean, Decatur Park is not bad. One of the things I've always liked about Decatur Park is that I like it and don't like it. It's a pro and con kind of thing. We've sort of done the playground equipment very piecemeal. Okay, there's an empty space and we stick something in it. And that's not bad because then it sort of incorporates into the trees and the lay of the land, and that's okay. On the other hand, though, we just sort of see an empty space and figure out what we can stick in it. So it's not always, the best sort of concept.
Like keeping the youngest children.
Right,
And, you know,
right.
we have the tot lot and then the other things around.
Right, whereas at Henry Park, we've created more, larger, dedicated sort of playground areas. So those are the two schools of kind
Yeah.
of arranging a playground, so.
I just know that in Stephen Decatur Park, there are a lot of wet spots.
Yes.
And that's something that, we would want to modify as
Right,
we,
right.
if we're going to redo something. Yeah, like there was a swing where it was just completely flooded all around of it all the
Yeah.
time. So, it's just, not a swing, a swing chair.
Yes.
So just as we're going through, I'd like to, revisit those items at the same time. So
Right.
we're not just
Right.
putting a play toy right in the middle of a pond.
Right, and there was a concept drawing introduced,
I remember
gosh, a year
that.
ago, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow, time flies.
Yeah.
Which was a fantastic concept, but money, money, it always boils down to that at the end of the day.
But even if we can't do it all at once, if we kind of
Yeah.
hold to a general plan that, and keep it on top. We don't want old useless equipment, that's, I don't know who plays on what, if they're all being used or not.
I think they all get well
But
used.
with chip paint,
Yeah.
I guess that says they're
Yeah,
being well used.
I don't think that they're unappealing, to kids.
As long as they're
Yeah.
not worn out.
Right,
Oh, good.
so,
Well, time will tell.
yeah.
Thank you so much for taking care of us and keeping us out of the harm's way.
Okay, moving right along. The backyard buffer tree giveaway was a raging success. Even though we had quite a few people who initially signed up, then did not come on the date to pick their trees up, we gave away every single bundle we had.
Yeah, we had, about 20 left? when we
Yeah,
ended that day.
yeah.
Yeah, people didn't show up.
We ended up, we started off with 50, that was kind of the minimum amount that they allocated for each community, and ended up giving away 75. So that's
Nice.
good. As always, with everything we do, every year is a learning experience, and you make notes for next year of how to tweak things. So I've got some ideas. A lot of people asked about splitting bundles, because they didn't have, they might want the shrubs, but not the trees, so I'm gonna explore that a little bit, see how labor intensive that becomes. That could be very labor
Yeah.
intensive, but,
I think that's
Yeah.
something that people can work with their neighbors on that one. If we
Yeah.
explain exactly what's
Put out,
in it.
yeah, how many we have in the package. and-
Right.
Yeah, and
Just be
if
more-
that's more than you need,
yeah.
get together.
Well, and I can also, of course, always encourage them, if they know that they won't use some, to donate them back to the town.
Right.
We've got plenty of places we
Yeah.
can.
Oh, that's excellent.
That's a
That's
Yeah,
great.
even if it's not in our parks or wherever, we have spray sites where we can plant there's always
We had,
room.
two each of, was it 6 species, I think?
It was
Or- It was a lot of,
It was
4
a
or
lot,
5 species.
including
It was a total of,
two-balled cypress.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
when you think about the space you need
Yes.
for those,
yeah.
yes,
It
and,
takes a
yeah,
special spot.
And the terrain, I mean, you.
Right, right.
yeah.
Not
Yeah.
every
We
tree
were-
goes in the
Yeah.
same.
All
Right,
cypress,
and this program is intended particularly for people who live on waterways. The point of it is to create those natural buffers to help with erosion, as well as wildlife habitat, food, that sort of thing. So they're really not meant to be planted
It's
in
not,
town, but we
Yeah.
don't discourage anyone who wants them, obviously.
well, there's
So-
enough water around that we can justify
Yes,
it anywhere.
Yes, spring celebration, that was a good day. We gave, I don't know, I didn't really count how many crafts we gave away, because we were kind of using leftovers that were ordered for the,
Well, all
know,
of the bunny things, they were
yes, all of
all
the little Eastery things, and
then-
we still have plenty left over for National Night Out.
And
so-
Wow.
none of them actually blew away. We caught a
Right,
couple.
yeah, I think we made the right call there, doing
Yeah.
that as a take it home, because,
They couldn't put
It
that
would've-
that little delicate stuff.
Oh, no.
no.
No, I think
we've
one of
is a constant problem with spring celebration.
Yeah.
It
Well,
is
it's
always windy.
It's a problem with Main Street, it's just this corridor, the wind goes down. Cleanup day, we had about, I'm gonna say total between 3 parks downtown, we had about 70 people. We're a little down from previous years. We had gone into it kind of saying, if they didn't show up, maybe this would be the last year we did it. I feel like we had enough people come that we don't want to call it yet. But yeah, this is just how it is everywhere
Yeah.
that volunteers are needed. The numbers are just dwindling. People have such busy lives
Yeah.
that,
That, and there's more and more organizations are doing stuff on Earth Day
Right.
too, so the pool is getting.
right.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of events going on that day. That is
It'd be
absolutely
nice to
true.
get another company or group or something like we had with what Comcast.
Yeah,
and,
yeah, I think one year we had Home Depot and one year we had Comcast, those
I
are
think that
great.
Florence Lady, I believe it was.
Yeah, Bank of Ocean City always brings a
Yeah.
small group
Yeah,
out,
they
Chris
had-
was just
yeah.
saying that they came again, so.
Let's see,
Had
Spring
Our
Disc
special
Walk.
group that always.
Yeah,
8 or
yeah,
10 of them.
that is this Saturday, starts at 8:30. I did these little trivia, if you want to just kind of
Yeah,
pass them around.
I'm sorry. I was-
No, that's okay, it's fine. I had 10 points
These
and
are
did 10
perfect.
little questions. Then I'll have a little 5-question quiz. We're not grading the quizzes, obviously, but I think people will have fun with it, and that's the key.
Yeah, it's kind of like a little Burma shave thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, I will be getting here, I'm aiming for 7:30 Saturday morning, because there's more signs to put out than I've had in past years. Thought about putting them out the night before, and then I thought,
Not these
yeah,
days.
no, that's not gonna work.
Too much of a temptation. as you were-
Right. Now, they are calling for a possibility of rain on Saturday, so, Friday, we may make a call between us and the health department, we may make a call, but we'll see, that's all we can do is just wait and see.
Do you need more signs advertising it put out, like you want us to take any, or we're set?
Now, these days, it's all on social media. So we've got it on the town's various Facebook pages and the website and the different places.
Well, the county has,
And the county,
they
right,
have
the
a
health
big list that
department
they
is-
send it out to.
Yes, the health department is putting it out to a significant group. People can go to our website, there's a banner on the homepage they can click on to register. Other than that, just be there. AGH and the health department will have tables
Oh, nice.
set up, so,
So blood pressure and.
yeah, I'm not sure exactly what they're doing, it may
Something,
just be
yeah.
educational materials. Because they're still kind of in that COVID mode where they're still, reluctant to
Be close and do
yeah, so
personal.
I don't think they're doing the
That's- so, yeah, I
physical
gotcha.
assessments
Okay.
yet, but they will be there. Kind of the last thing, this is something that Jimmy and I had started talking about some time ago, and I believe Ivy may have mentioned at some point, and we've sort of talked about it over the years. And I'm gonna be frank, it's something I'd like to see, but I don't know how to do it. Is to sort of establish a tree plan for the town. And I would say that I think it's a bigger project than the Parks Commission needs to take on alone. It's probably something that the Beautification Committee can weigh in on. And there may be others who we kind of pull in to talk about it. But I think it's worth looking into, and I just did this 2-sided. This is kind of the basic summary of what becoming a Tree City USA is. A lot of it is stuff that we've always done, but we haven't really documented. We haven't really said, we have done this task. So that's part of it. So we're not gonna get into it too deeply tonight, but think about it, think about what resources we might tap, how we might kind of start down this road.
Well, the museum now has the Mary Humphreys Arboretum,
Uh-huh.
and it's certified through the
I guess it's the National Arboretum. There's
I
three
would
on
think, yeah.
on the shore, and we're one of them.
Mhm.
And we're the smallest kind of arboretum you can be,
Mhm.
but we figured that's a good addition to help Berlin with this.
Mhm,
You know, we've met that. We have a plan for how we've done it. Donna Main put together our paperwork for us, and she
Okay.
was, and tying it in with Tree City. You know, Gregory Purnell
Mhm. Oh,
is,
yeah.
you know, he's an urban,
Yeah.
you know, tree guy, and
Is he still active then? I haven't seen him.
he is actually on our board of directors
Oh, okay.
in the Berlin Heritage
Okay, good,
Foundation,
yeah.
and has been very helpful with our arboretum work,
Mm-hmm.
and, I mean, his knowledge is so vast about, you know, trees and what to do for them and how to plan for them and what they need. I would, if there's going to be a committee formed, I would definitely, I know that he has a very full plate.
Yeah.
But
Right.
if we have something to
Yeah.
ask him to look at, I'm
Yeah.
sure that he would be
Sure,
very happy to give his professional advice, and, because he loves this town too.
Absolutely he does, absolutely he
And
does.
so would this be like, you know, I know some cities have said, oh, we're going to have crepe myrtle as our signature
Right,
tree, or,
right.
you know, camellias as our signature thing. So, okay, so that's something that we can present as, for urban planting, and then we have to decide if we want to do all native plantings or some of the recommended urban trees that
Right.
are not necessarily native.
Right, right. Would serve their purpose. So anyway, like I said, just kind of keep that in mind in the back of your head, if any, you know, random thoughts that you may have that pop up. I will say this very baldly. I don't want this to be a project that the Parks
Oh,
Commission
yeah.
becomes responsible for. I think that there are, and absolutely no offense, there are better hands to put it in, people with much more expertise and, you know, that kind of thing. But I know that the Parks Commission can have a place.
Yeah.
A place at the table, as they say.
Well, we can help fulfill what it takes to do that. And,
Right.
Of course, you know, the parks can contribute by offering our vast amounts of Bradford pears as an example of how to
What not to
remove
do.
the, yeah, well, I mean, it's a 10-year project to get rid of
Yeah.
those trees and replace them with,
Yeah,
and that might
more
be part of
suitable
the
trees.
plan too.
Right,
You know, that
right.
would be, what a fabulous thing to be able to say, we replaced all those trees
Yeah.
with a real living forest
Right,
now, and
right.
so that would be my contribution right there.
It was a goal, one of the goals.
Well, yeah, it's a goal.
Yeah,
That's a goal,
and I
yeah.
think that's a reasonable goal, because that could be the sort of thing that you then can try to approach property owners with a plan,
Mhm.
you know, or with resources and go from there. But that's probably a lot further down the road, but.
Well, it's a long plan,
Yeah.
but that's why they want you to have
Yes,
a plan.
exactly.
Great.
Then I had a couple of other things that came up since I prepared the agenda, just in the last week or so. One quickly is, I think you're all familiar with Adrian Bowen. If you're not sure who I mean, I'm sure you've heard his name. He is planning not a Memorial Day, but a Memorial Day weekend basketball tournament at Henry Park. That is to go before the mayor and council on Monday, because he is charging teams a fee and that sort of thing, so that has to go before them for approval. But I just wanted you to be aware of it. I knew that you would not have issue with it. He's filed all the appropriate
Yeah, he's done
paperwork.
it before.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
It's such a good use.
He's come and talked to us. before.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
so I just wanted you to be aware of that, so if you did see lots of stuff going on Memorial Day weekend, you know that it's planned.
It's wonderful.
Right.
That's excellent.
Another thing that came to my, across my desk just in the last few days, I think Friday, in Stephen Decatur Park, the part of the park that runs along the backs of the properties that are on Kenwood Court. Does that make
Yes.
sense? Okay.
Yes.
We took down a number of trees last year,
Couple that were, yeah.
a
two
couple,
or
within
three.
the last
And then-
year, 18 months. The property owners that are most impacted like that would like to see trees put back. And I was contacted by one in particular. He was kind of speaking on his behalf and that of his neighbor. If I can get this. My fingers are not working today. He is interested in talking about giant arborvitae and paying for the trees. The town forces would do the actual planting. And I know that arborvitae is a regional species. I don't know about giant arborvitae in particular. I know, I looked it up.
Giant ones, I don't know, I would have
Yeah.
to look, I really can't speak to it with knowledge, but I just
Right.
have this hesitation about the giant ones for some reason. I don't know.
I'd like to do a little bit more
Okay.
research on it.
Well, and that's what I
know that they're
indicated to them.
subjected to the bagworms are
Okay.
huge. They
Okay.
look at that like it's their most delectable dessert.
What he's interested in, obviously, we took down a screen,
Yeah,
and he's interested in replacing that screen. I think we want to stay away from the Leland cypress for obvious
there's-
reasons,
yeah.
it's short-lived.
Yes.
I mean, you know,
It's the same.
that area
Yeah.
is really best suited, and it has in the past been white cedar.
Okay.
And that white cedar, even though that's also, I mean, that's native, it grows,
Would
when
it
we talk
achieve
about
the
all of
effect that they're looking for?
it's an evergreen that
Okay.
is of an upright nature.
Is it like a pine or?
No, it's
No, they're like
conical, it's an
columns.
upright.
That's what I was looking for,
yeah,
conical.
It's upright and mostly, it's a long-lived tree.
Mm-hmm.
I would go for white cedar rather than red cedar because white cedar has, that's what was here. We have a stand of white cedar right
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
by the,
Yeah, no, it's,
the pavilion in Stephen Decatur Park, if they
Right.
would like to look at them. Of course, they're mature trees and grown,
Mm-hmm.
but that is in fact the prime kind of place
Don't
that
they
they would.
grow fairly quickly?
They're not a slow grower. They're not as fast as Leland cypress,
Oh, well,
but
yeah.
you're looking at a tree that's actually gonna last more than
Is there
25
across the
years.
front of our front yard?
Yeah,
Because I had them growing up everywhere and I just planted them and it seems like they grew quickly.
It seems, it's like, they look like a little shrub and then all of a sudden they're a tree.
Yeah.
It's just,
it
Yeah.
seems to me, and I may be mistaken about the species, but it seems to me at one point, there was someone talking to the town about white cedar, and they had gotten it down to the genetic level. They knew which variety or which particular tree could be genetically traced back to this area. It
Oh my
was
goodness.
that refined.
this was part of a whole thing.
I think
Maryland
it was
Coastal
white
Springs.
cedar. Mm-hmm.
It was white cedar. They had the kids at the, it was the intermediate school, raised these for a while. There was going to be a redevelopment along Hudson Branch. They were gonna do that whole thing and have the white cedar was going to be planted there. But also, I think in the meantime, those white cedar went to other projects
Yeah.
that the Babe plans and the restoration
Right,
people.
right.
Might have been also with the Chesapeake, but yes, it
And
would
some of our
be, it would be
native tree
delightful. if-
nurseries
yeah.
would probably be able to help with that.
Well, this was through, very highly specialized because they really wanted to get it right. It would be delightful. You know who, Roman,
Roman Jessen, yeah, he was involved
he's
in
the
that.
one who I would ask specifically about white cedar. And if
Okay.
if there's some available or
Okay.
some
I mean,
offspring,
it
wouldn't
would-
that be
It would
delightful?
be
But it's
nothing,
not.
we wouldn't want to do anything at this point until either the fall or the spring, depending on
It's too late.
different
to-
trees, like different planting
You can plant these
times.
in the fall, I think the cedar would.
But
be
I will discuss that with the gentleman and mention
Yeah.
that white cedar would probably be the preferred species.
It would be the least affected by any pests.
Okay.
And that's something that we don't want to put something in
No,
that is gonna cause
No,
problems.
certainly not.
so.
And we want to stick with, and I had told
And
him
that's a
when I
native
spoke to him that I
different-
wasn't sure about the arborvitae,
They're
And I looked it up, they are considered to be indigenous to the area. Certain varieties, like I say, I'm not sure about this giant arborvitae, but, yeah.
If they can convince me otherwise, but I would prefer something that I know belongs right there.
Right,
You know, because they grow like weeds in this area, so.
Well, and I can reach out to the Maryland Forestry Service, who does the backyard buffer program.
Yeah.
And they deal with all the
I think
different
that's an
nurseries
excellent
that do
resource,
the
too.
native species, so that's
Thank
something
you.
that we could look at. Okay, so I'll come back to you with more on that, but, I just didn't want to sort of plant things and,
I think it's wonderful that they want, they could get a large white cedar, I'm sure, that would give them I mean, if they're looking at a big tree that needs to go in there, it would be not cheap, but I can imagine it would be, you get a big tree then.
well, but if the white cedar tends to be fairly
I think it's
fast
fairly
growing, I
fast
think
growing.
that's probably
Yeah,
what
just
they're-
don't start with the
No.
first year tree.
Don't start with our backyard buffer trees. I have to tell you though, I received a baby pine several years ago. I can tell you more about where it came from, but it is now,
Nice.
in fact, I planted it in a pot, so it sort of wouldn't get lost, and now I keep going and looking at that pot and going, I gotta do something with this.
Break the pot and pile up the dirt.
No, it might be what, just, smash the pot. Okay.
Well, this is all good news, Mary.
Yeah, things are going good. So unless anybody else had anything they wanted to discuss, Saturday for Just Walk, we'll be out there doing
And what
the,
time did you want us to come there?
by 8:30.
And you're gonna start putting the signs out at 7:30?
That's my goal.
Okay.
My ability to get to Berlin by 7:30 in the morning can be questionable, but that's what I'm aiming for.
Meet here or at the park? or-
At the park,
At the park, okay.
Are you guys going to be able to sweep off the path, or do we need to do that before the walk? We usually give it a good walk.
Got my handy
It's
dandy
probably
blower.
okay.
We'll
We
get
just did cleanup day.
We'll
The
go in-
gumballs
We'll go in
are-
Friday and blow the path
Thank
off.
you so
Okay,
much.
that
That
would
will
be
just,
great.
that's
We have
just.
crew.
Yeah.
We can get that to,
My job is done.
I know they're calling
Yes,
for
I'm
rain
not going
on
to make
it.
you go around with that first
We'll
thing.
try to hit that on
Thank you.
Thursday.
If
We'll
you
get it on
can,
Thursday.
if you can't, we've always done it in the past, I just didn't know if that was, I see the guys over there doing so
Yeah.
much, and I really appreciate all that.
Yeah, they've done a great job
They
with
really
all
have,
Yeah.
the
so,
mulch and,
just,
Well,
We just did the post office.
so that was your
Saturday,
crew this
yeah.
morning.
We were in there and got them complete. Well, we did the two. We have one on the right that we'll have to go back, and there's some big shrubs, and we'll go in there and clean that up this
Thank
week.
you.
Or at
It's
least
so hard
get
to get
close.
anything to grow
I know.
there. Good luck.
Well, the problem downtown is the problem has been, we don't have any water. And yeah, that's something we need to look at too. We had talked about buying a tank to put on the back of the
Right.
trucks for the driest
Yeah.
point.
I mean,
And that, and of course, Public Works, they're, as we often remind people, they're not landscapers and they're not gardeners.
no, it might be if there were more, rain barrels attached to, like if there was one, of course, they're not going to do it at the post office, but that would be a place at least to get some water. I know
Yeah.
downtown.
Well, that's
there's,
true. Yeah.
Downtown, they have that one that, or a couple of them that they use for dog water.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
The only other,
Somebody watched a guy fill his water bottle out back here, and they were like, "You don't want that
Oh my-
water."
out of the,
Yes,
It's
rainwater. It's
pure, clear rainwater.
not all the
Not
tar and stuff that's
It's
sitting in
been sitting
there.
there for like years.
the only other thing I do have, I just want, thanks to the council for listening to us about the path. I think all
Okay,
of
yes.
us received a lot of input. I heard it from the senior citizens that walk early.
Yes.
We heard it from the stroller moms. We all heard it from different sources, and they came
Yeah.
right through and understood fully.
And just to give you a little bit of an update on that, Jimmy and I met on site with the contractor yesterday. Gosh, it was just yesterday.
Wow.
So that's looking good
Oh,
to
good.
proceed. But he's probably not gonna come in until, he's doing 4 locations in town. One of which is that little East Graham that leads sort of to the parking lot of the school on Franklin Avenue. So he's waiting till school's out So he's gonna come in all at once and do everything, rather than do a couple of things and then come back for that. So he probably won't really be starting until June.
How long does he anticipate the project to take once he starts it? Or-
He didn't seem to feel like it was gonna be
Really?
terribly long.
Well, I
Now,
mean,
with
it's
the
already set up.
pathway, and, I mean, he's got a plan, he's approaching it with care to take out a part of it, you know, not to,
I see.
so hopefully it will remain pretty much usable.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Now, obviously, there'll be a
Awesome.
period of time where you
Well,
wouldn't wanna walk.
he's gonna
on
have
it.
to
But
put
it
the
does
bottom.
in sections
We
then.
broke it down into sections,
Yeah.
and we'll have dumpsters come in, his crews will be in the different parts of the sections, he figured maybe 3-4 days at the most to bring it up. And then they come in, when they start to pave, he didn't think it would be much more than 3-4 days
Yeah.
that,
So
that they'll be in.
At the,
Yeah.
if there, you know, there's weather, we're looking at maybe 2 weeks of all,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, that's the plan.
And
Terrific.
his biggest plan in June was, we're hoped to be drier in June, and with the trucks and the equipment, it'll be less invasive on the park itself.
Right.
That's why it was really being, one was a school, but two, we're hoping to get drier weather.
Yeah,
Well, let's keep our fingers
It's been a
crossed.
lot of wet.
Yeah, that'll make everything a lot easier if it's dry under there,
yes,
just the whole business.
absolutely.
And then they only have to tear up the matting. They're not
Right.
tearing up any of the base.
Well, that's gonna make it a lot.
Except
Yeah.
in odd places where it may need it, or there are tree
Above
roots.
down.
Tree roots is the big deal, yeah.
And then they're gonna come back in and then have a 5-foot, back to a 5-foot path.
Right.
Amen. That is gonna be
So-
terrific. That'll be good. So
Yep.
people can pass without.
It's, you know, it's unfortunate, the scrub tire was a terrific surface,
Yeah,
but it's just not sustainable.
this, yeah.
Well, it had its life. We got a lot of, we got more wear out of it than I actually thought we were
Yeah,
going to.
yeah.
You know, so,
Well, on to the next thing.
All right, anything else? Okay, let's get a motion to adjourn.
I'm so moved.
And
Second it.
I'm gonna assume that's unanimous. Okay, so the next time that we meet will be in July. Unless something comes up, obviously.
July.
Yeah,
July the 5th.
Right, July 5th, it's always, yeah. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Everybody recovering from their sunburns, I suppose.
Right.